Hello, hello, Cancer. Sorry about that. Thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm going to use Tarot Illuminati by, where's the name? Eric, I think it's C. Hold on. C. Dune. And then the supportive oracle cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I have a Halloween oracle from her, don't I? Just randomly thinking of that. I'm going to have to get that out soon because I do like that deck. Already shuffled. Cancer. Are we jumping all over the place? 1, 2, 3. Really? Okay. We're not doing a lot of tarot cards. I don't know why. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Okay. I shouldn't be fighting my own energy. That's not the best idea. Huh. I don't know. We got some... Usually I do more tarot cards. I don't know why. I will say before we get too far in this, the abundance card, fell right out of the deck. It's kind of like they forced it out, so that was here before I started. Just to be on the level. I mean, not you could see what I was putting on anyway. But it was already out here, because when I was shuffling it, boom, it came right out. It was just demanding to be seen. There is abundance here. So, I feel like what they're saying is this is meant to be good. They're making a big point with that. It's very strong. The abundance is here. Be careful how you view it. Let's go a little deeper and see where that goes. So, coming into a situation, whatever this situation is, you have two really good cards. You got Hunger and Realization, but I like the Hunger card on this because of the imagery on it is very beautiful. When I see Hunger, I see Wolf. Wolf makes me think of teacher energy. Just in my mental Rolodex, I'm not sure if that completely matches, but that's how it feels for me, and especially with the moon right behind it, that beautiful moon. I feel like this is saying hunger serves you at times. Not for nothing. If we're going to give an example of hunger, if you're not hungry and you eat your favorite meal versus if you are hungry and you eat your favorite meal, when does it taste better? I feel like that's a good idea. Or hunger works with this to make you realize what you actually want. How do I put this? It's almost a better way to put this is you're hungry and somebody has just pasta out and you're pasta's good sometimes, it's fine. But when you're hungry, it tastes great because you want to eat it. I don't know how to say this. Hunger is really helping you define what you want. Hunger is really a good thing here. And when you came into this, you really wanted something. You were looking for something. You were trying to figure out what you wanted. And because of the hunger, you realized what you wanted and you moved forward through that keyhole. Kind of I'm going to give this a shot because I really need something. I need this in my life. I know I need it now because I was hungry for something. I figured out what it was. I went towards it. Hunger really served you. I don't think of hunger as a negative card. I feel like it depends on what's going on around it. And in your situation, I feel like it's really good. It helped you define, it's almost I'm hungry, I want food. But the more hungry you were, wait, I want something specific. Maybe I want roast beef. Nah, I don't know if I want that. I know I want soup, and I want all this. I want all these vegetables. I want potatoes. Oh, I want cream of potato soup. That's what I want. And you just kind of got it right down to what you wanted, and you're like, oh, this is great. Hunger helped you define exactly what you wanted. If you didn't have that hunger, you'd have been like, oh, I'm hungry, but I don't know what for. I guess a sandwich will do. You wouldn't have got what you actually wanted. You just would have got something that served a purpose, and you would have moved on from it. I know that's a little wonky, but let me stop talking about that, and we'll talk about this card. You got the property. The word property and properties is popping right in my head. That's not what this is. It's protection. But I'm feeling a property connection here. So for somebody, it's choosing a property, and this was the beginning of you choosing a property and defining what you wanted. Something like that. I can't believe that all of you are going to hit that way. But the word is protection, but I'm feeling this feels more like security to me. I'm having a hard time connecting with the word protection. When I'm viewing this, I'm feeling more about the base of where you live and what means something to you. It could be a person or a literal place. If it's a person, it's like somebody who feels like home to you, somebody who you feel really connected to. It's a very home-like feeling to me. It feels like that's where the property kind of fits better, I think. I feel like this is more about somebody or something that feels like home to you. It could even be a job that you're very connected with and you feel very comfortable and at home. Like, I fit in here, people know me, I know people, I know what to do, I know how things work. If it's a person, it's somebody that you just feel like they get you, you get them. This person in your life, it's kind of like this is connecting with this same energy. Kind of like, I like what I have. I don't know if I really want to give up what I have, but something isn't quite hitting the mark. And I'm realizing that there's something else I need. So, especially for some of you, I'm feeling like a work connection. Kind of like, I like where I am, I'm comfortable where I am, but there's something here that's not fulfilling me. And the longer I've gone in this situation, the more hungry I've gotten, and I'm now realizing what it is I'm actually hungry for. It's kind of reminding me of somebody who was in, like, they were in an office environment and they really just wanted to be an art teacher, and changing vocations and going to school to be that, and then literally changing vocations. It was a hard thing to do. They really liked where they were. They did well. They fit well. They did their job well, and their job was fine. They didn't hate the job. I felt like that was the most amazing part. But they wanted something else that was going to be more fulfilling, and it was hard for them to really decide to go towards that, but they did it. And that's making me feel. That's what I'm thinking here. That's what's popping in my head. So I feel like this is how this whole situation started. Realizing what you really wanted. And I feel like dealing with other people and explaining to other people what you're going towards, I don't feel like you made any quick changes, but I feel like you were exploring this. Like, I like where I am, but I think I need some changes. I think something needs to start changing. And you're starting to talk this out with certain people, the people you feel like it's appropriate with. How's that? Because I'm getting self-reflection, like other people helping you talk this out. But I'm also getting, for example, I feel like this is a difficult one. For some of you, this is a relationship thing. And you might be married to this person or just in a relationship where you live together or however that goes. But it's kind of like you like the person you're with is good, but it's not, you're like, this isn't really, I don't know if I want to finish off my life like this. And you're like talking with other people kind of like, I don't know what to do. You're not one to give up on people, but it's kind of like you're having that feeling, for those of you with this relationship connection, if you had the option to take the person you're with and put them back as a friend and keep them as a friend and go on with someone else, you would go for that. But the chances of that happening, you're like, I don't know about that. I feel like if I tell this person I want to put this back into a friendship and move on with someone else or go look for someone else, I'm not thinking they're going to take that well, and I'm thinking that I might end up with no connection to this person because they're going to be very upset with me. That's a rough one. So for the people that's hitting with, I feel like that's rough. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? They're like, we got more to go here. Okay, we do. And I'm very talkative today. So it's like, I feel like that's another good example, though. That's, you're really invested with something, and it's not the worst situation, but it's not fulfilling for you. It's kind of like, it makes me think of another situation where I know somebody, they very much care about the person they're with, but they're not in love with them, and they've mentioned that before. But they don't want to dislodge this person from their life, but they're afraid, like, if they try to change things, that's what's going to happen. So they feel like they're in a catch-22. It's difficult. I know it's difficult because it's when you just have your honest feelings and you're just like, do I just like suck it up and keep going, or should I actually make a change here? And it's like really understanding like what's right for me, what's right for this person, what's right for the situation. Especially if it keeps, like, the longer it goes, the more you feel it, the more you're like, I like this person, but I don't want to do, like, because I noticed the same person I'm talking about, they don't have this sexual connection with their partner anymore, but they're kind of going through it because they're like, well, that's the person I do that with, but they're finding that the longer it goes, the less they want to. And nothing has changed. There's nothing wrong with either of them. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing has changed physically for either of them. It's just kind of like it's starting to weigh on them more. Like, am I fighting my own natural instincts, or what comes next? That's a difficult one. I think we're going to go forward to the next now. That feels rough. I feel like that's like a hard one. Let's see where this is going. for those, it's not bad. I just feel like this is rough, and they're saying this almost feels like this, like they're saying there's something in your life that isn't working. It's not feeling right, and it's kind of like it's bubbling forward. Like you got to find one way or another to deal with this. It's rough. Again, I feel like it's kind of like if I could move this back into a friendship and then go on with somebody else without this causing damage, it would be a no-brainer. But the chance of that happening, because I'm getting the Two of Cups with the Seven of Cups, I don't think you're, I don't know, it depends on everybody. You have your own way. I don't feel like most of you are going out with somebody else on the side. I don't think that's happening, but it's becoming more and more apparent, like, I want change here. Again, if we're going to go back to the job situation, like, it's a good job, but this isn't, like, I want to do something else, but I feel like if I leave this job, I'm giving up a lot of good things, and I'm taking a chance on whether I'm going to find something better, but I'm not really feeling like this is where I want to be anymore. And it's the question, like, do I give up what I have for what I want? I have something pretty good, but it's not really fulfilling me. Ooh, this one's rough. I feel like it's weird because the cards are good, but I'm feeling it. It's kind of like something's missing. It's just kind of like that. It's like that sauce that just, there's one ingredient missing and you know something's missing, and when you finally figure out what it is, you're like, well, it's too late to add it now. If I really want this to taste right, I got to start from scratch again. Do I really want to do that? That's a lot of work. But the more you eat what you currently have, you just keep thinking, oh, this could have been better. This could have been better. I'd really rather have the other. I'd really rather have the other. It's going to take you a while to really figure out what to do with this. I feel like this is something I feel like you have to talk with other people again. And I feel like you got to be careful who you talk with, no matter what way it's hitting, work, relationship, something like that. Because I feel like you have to keep going over it with yourself. And I feel like you have to come really to your own personal truth. You have to. I feel like the best way to look at this is kind of like, I feel like you have to take two paths at the same time and just go through it mentally. One path is like, if I stay in this situation, be it work, relationship, whatever it is, where do I see myself in 2 years if I stay? Where do I see myself in 5 years if I stay? Where do I see myself in 10 years if I stay? Like, are you still going to be wanting to try something else, or do you think it's going to pass? Do you think it's going to be worth staying, or do you think it's going to be just more like making you be like, well, I wish I really changed? Also go down the other path. If I decide to go down this other path and change the situation, leave this work, leave this person in one way or another, how do I feel in 2 years? How do I feel in 5 years? How do I feel in 10 years? And just kind of go through it. You be careful if you write it down, because if you don't want anybody to know or what you want to keep it private, just be careful where you write it down. That's all I'm saying. Because, life has a way of, like, you write things down or stuff like that, the situation might take a life of its own. I'm just saying. You have to come to the truth. I feel like that's hard. I feel like that's really hard. Because it's kind of like admitting to yourself what you truly want is going to inspire your next action. What is your next action? Surrender and faith. For some of you, you may be surprised. You may find that you actually desire to stay where you are. You may have like a version here where you can reconstitute things. You may have a version here to where you're like, you may find out that, it's a temporary need to move on. You may find that. It may be something else you have to unearth a little deeper to find out what the real problem is. For example, if we're going to go relationship-wise, maybe the sexual connection isn't there. Maybe you could find out why. Maybe just an intimate series of talks with your partner can fix that. Maybe a sex therapist can help you work that out, just for argument's sake. Work-wise, the same thing. Maybe there's something at work and you're just kind of getting stagnant, or maybe there's something that's not fitting. Maybe there's other opportunities, other places you can go in the same work situation, and you can find fulfillment there. Not all of you are going to find this fulfillment that way, but for those of you who do, that's possible. You got to look at the truth here. This is a general read, let's be fair. You know what I mean? I don't think all of you are going to move on from whatever you're dealing with. Others of you are going to have to surrender to the faith of it in the sense of like, I'm not happy, and the longer I go, the more unhappy I get. It means more to you whatever it is you were desiring means more to you than you actually want to admit. And I feel like you're going to come to a spot where you have to decide, what am I going to do? Once you get to the realization of what you actually want, though, the world comes in with the Hermit. You're going to start looking for possibilities to change things. But you have to, if you want this to pass, if you want this to move on, I feel like this is also saying be more mindful that, sometimes life just pushes you forward, and sometimes these inklings are trying to give you a heads up, like maybe you want to change before life forces you to change. For example, if it's a work situation, maybe things are going to change where you work, and it's just like you don't realize it yet, but the universe is trying to give you a heads up, like start thinking of opportunities now. May look like there's no problems, there's no reason this would change, there's no reason you would lose the situation, but it's almost like the universe is like, let's start thinking of things now. Let's look at other possibilities before you have to wait for something to happen. Same thing with a relationship. Maybe the other person is going to make a decision down the road, and you might feel like, well, if they're going to move on anyway, I might as well wait for that. It could be a lot more rough. It could be a lot more brutal if you wait for something else like this. You might have more of a chance of a peaceful resolution if you decide and see what's going on now and make your decision rather than letting, the Tower come in on its own. I'm just saying. It's like choosing the Tower versus waiting for it to happen. Like, I don't know. Like, if you choose the Tower, you can prepare for it somewhat. It's still going to be kind of like, there's going to be a shock element to it either way. But if you just kind of like ignore it and like, we'll be fine, and then it just kind of flattens you, it's much more brutal. I'm just saying. So I feel like what they're also saying here with the world is saying change is inevitable, obviously. But in this situation, whatever you're desiring, it's kind of like, don't wait for life to push it in front of you. Don't wait for the universe to kick you forward. Come to terms with what you want. Come to terms with what you think should happen, and just address. If you go towards it, like I feel like if you're having these inklings, if you're having this hunger and this realization, it's like the universe saying, "Listen, things are going to change. How about you get comfortable with it now, so that you can flow with it, rather than waiting for the world to just flatten you with it." Because the world is coming. Which I feel for all of you who this connected with, a change will happen one way or another. How it happens is up to you, I guess, because you're in a power position right now to like address it, see it, feel it through, assess it, and decide what you really want. Once you really find out, like the purity, I feel like, is you coming to the realization of what you actually want. I do feel like you'll be in a line with where things are going, and you'll be able to set it up. You just have to get to that point where you really identify, do I want to go down this new path, or do I want to stay? What do I really want? And once you align with it and move forward down that direction, I feel like you'll know you're right if the need disappears. If the need doesn't disappear, they're like, well, you're still kind of fooling yourself. You're not really identifying what you actually want. You're not really going towards it. All right, I think we're there. So it's going to change either way. I'm going to let that go there. Okay, I'm going to shut it down there. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.